Good morning, everyone. Morning audio notes. We have corn up 1 3/4 in the overnight, 5.80 3/4. The Jan beans are up 6 1/4 at 12.50, 4 3/4. Chicago wheat's also up 8. That now puts the December Chicago wheat at 8.05 1/4. We'll again assume fund buying every morning until we don't see it. So that would of course mean the largest support once again for corn and for wheat. And this time around, we haven't seen any fun buying for beans, or hardly any, but today we might expect a little bit more bean support with the harvest number coming in at 79%, trade expected up to 83%. This is something maybe we could have anticipated being out in the field, knowing that latest rain really slowed things down, but for at least a day here, we could see beans find a little bit better support from harvest coming in a little slower than expected. What we could say in corn for funds now, it's still hard to tell exactly where they are pre-buying, what category do they feel is going to get exciting, but what we can say is that 581 corn, where we are this morning, prices in a 1.2 carryout. USDA is at a 1.5 carryout. That's a 300 million bushel difference, and most agree that yield is probably going to stay about where it is, as well as acreage, so that means a 300 million bushel increase in demand. Tough to tell exactly where funds are expecting that demand to come from. Maybe 2 straight strong months of ethanol, maybe they feel feed and residual use is a little low. Perhaps they're expecting a pretty sizable round of China buying to come in here. So while we can only guess as to where they feel this demand will come from, what we do know is what they're pre-pricing in. And what we need to keep in mind is that 300 million bushels increase in demand is a very sizable number. Not a number you will reach by seeing 1 or 2 more good ethanol reports or 2 or 3 days of China buying. This will have to be something very large scale. And again, we can make the case that last week's ethanol number, being the second strongest of all time, if you run a string of those for, say, a month and a half or 2 months, all right, we can get this conversation started. But just remember, this is a 300 million bushel increase in demand, so above what USDA already has factored in. So just keep that in mind, that it has to be something large scale. If we're looking for reasons why corn is up at 580, smaller conversations are not going to cut it. That's not going to make a 300 million bushel change. Something large scale will. Flipping over to the cattle, we saw a 5,800 higher show list. Would say that number is higher, yes, but not overly significant. So we have some doubts that'll make any impact on cash unless there's cautious cash selling. So maybe not much impact on cash, but the already cautious futures trade, of course, they moved lower on seeing just a barely higher show list number. At this point, that's no longer surprising for cattle. Right now, December cattle is again, as of yesterday's close, assuming a $2 bounce over the next 2 months. So ultra cautious might be the best phrase to use there. They're pre-pricing in that we will only see $2 higher trade for the rest of the year, basically. Again, that seems overly pessimistic and overly cautious, but we'll see what we get from cash this week. That show list would suggest steady. So maybe coming in close to last week's 125.39 average. That's what we have here today. If anyone has any questions throughout the day, just give me a call anytime. We'll go over the numbers as we see them and what we think funds might be trading. Thank you.